Good morning. Welcome to Ureshel Speaks. So excited to be here and have a little time. Going to be a short one today. I just got a couple of things that I want to say. Exactly this time last week, I'll post a picture in the comments, or maybe not, but exactly this time last week, I was in the emergency room in the hospital, and really wishing I was being here. As a matter of fact, I had sent a message to Mark, the owner and producer of KVGI Radio and Media, actually Raven Media is the new name, and said, "Hey, I'm a little bit occupied right now." So I'm excited to be able to take a few minutes, share some wisdom, some thoughts, and some perspective on living life on purpose and what we should be doing every single day. So really simple today. The topic is pay attention. Pay attention. And so I'm going to tell you what happened last week, and then talk about three things that we need to pay attention to. Last week, the reason why I ended up in the emergency room is, I can take out my phone and I can show you on my phone for the last 5 years, maybe even more on some things, all of my labs and test results, all of my medical stuff, and and I kind of keep track of, I keep track of everything. I take my blood pressure, all of these things. But over the last 4 to 6 weeks, things have been happening, and, different symptoms are going on. And one thing was really annoying me. I had a dry mouth, and I was drinking lots of water. And all of these other things, like 2 or 3 things, slowly started increasing. I was blaming, this symptom on this, and I was blaming this symptom on that, and I was blaming this. So I was looking at all these things that were happening as individual occurrences. And then I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. And so after some conversations and things getting extremely worse, and some critical situations that I won't go into detail here on, I realized that something was really wrong. And so then I had to focus on everything that was going on. And I realized, man, I might have an issue. So I went to the drugstore. I bought a glucose meter. I pricked my finger. I took my blood sugar measurement, and the thing goes up to 600. And so after that, it just says greater than 600. So last week, I was in a place where, some people have strokes and diabetic comas, around those numbers. And so, I ended up in the emergency room and trying to get that taken care of. And it was, very unsettling, very upsetting. And I can tell you, for me, someone who my whole life used to be about fitness and performance and, 7% body fat and, all of these things, there's a lot that I had to, think about and embrace. But really, at the end of the day, all of that means nothing, because that's ego, and that's, the older I get, the better I was type stuff. But the reality is, what I forgot to do is just pay attention to what was going on, pay attention, listening to my body, paying attention to what was going on. And that, when things change drastically, as, some people as men, sometimes as veterans, different things we ignore, we push through things. And I forgot to really pay attention. And the reason why I share that is because, that could have, another day or two, that could have become a very critical or life-changing or even possibly life-ending situation. So, but I'm great, much better, glad to be here, feeling good, and of course focused on doing all the right things to make sure that that sort of thing is never an issue, doing lots of follow-up. So, but anyway, that just caused me to think about this reality of where I found myself and where many of us do, and that's not paying attention. So 3 things real quick I want to remind you to pay attention to, and then we'll go and make this an amazing, awesome day, and share that with everyone. Speaking of share, go to the YouTube channel, like Ureshel Speaks, share it. I need to grow that thing because, again, we're going to do some amazing stuff. You met a couple of weeks ago, you met someone that's awesome. There's going to be a whole bunch more coming that's lined up. But 3 things I want you to pay attention to. Now, like me, in my life, it's been hard for people to surprise me, pull surprise birthday parties and things like that, because automatically I pay attention to changes in behavior. And so I want to tell you to pay attention to when things change. Pay attention to things that are negative, whether it's in your body, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's with your children, on your job. You know, I can't tell you how many situations that I've been in, career-wise and relationship-wise, where things changed and I just kind of ignored that change and didn't really pay attention to, I mean, I noticed it, I saw it, but then I didn't look into it, didn't dissect it, didn't get to the root of something. And then sometimes that thing will grow. And because you didn't deal with the root, now you deal with the symptom. And then there's an action or something that takes place. You could lose your job. The relationship deteriorates. All sorts of things can happen because you didn't pay attention to something that changed, and that really didn't change for the better. It wasn't natural growth and natural progression, but there was something that changed, a change in attitude, a change in communication, a change in relationship, connection, efficiency, whatever it is. When something changes, take time, pay attention, and look and see if something's wrong. It's no different than driving your car. You drive your car every day, and if all of a sudden, you know, it's idling different or it's not accelerating the way that it was, or you hear a strange noise, you pay attention to that because you don't want it to deteriorate into something worse. And so that's one of the things that we always want to pay attention to in life. When things change, when things shift, it's not always bad. And sometimes it's easily fixable, but it's definitely something that we don't want to ignore. Again, I'll take you back to my situation 6 weeks ago. If I had paid attention 4 weeks ago, if I'd have just said, man, it's weird for me to have a dry mouth for like a week, right? And then to be drinking tons of water and it's not doing any good and my mouth is still dry. If I had paid attention to that one thing, then those other symptoms that later came that became very drastic, very inconvenient, and very severe would not have probably showed up because I would have been able to nip it in the bud, as Barney Fife would say. But the next thing I want you to pay attention to, and I told you we're going to be real quick today because I didn't work all last week, so I got a whole bunch of stuff to do and a whole bunch of people to catch up with. And then I'm probably going to get some messages from people watching this or listening to this now saying, what, you were in the hospital and I didn't know? You're in trouble. I got one of those yesterday. So here's the second thing I want you to pay attention to. Pay attention to the things that are wonderful. Pay attention to the things that are great in your life. You know, I have these beautiful daughters that are, you know, today they're 26 and 24. 15 minutes ago, they were 6 and 4. And, you know, and I have a son that's turning 7 this week. And, you know, we were absolutely just watching him walk. It seems like, you know, 2 weeks ago. So pay attention to the things that are amazing, to the things that make you smile, to the things that make you love. Pay attention to the people that matter most in your life. Pay attention to your relationships. Pay attention to things that are going on in the world. Now, in the world we live in, we know that what's marketable is negative. What is viral many times is something that is not great. It may be embarrassing. It may be bad news. I mean, news, you know, now is almost synonymous with negativity. If you turn on, you find whichever news channel you like to watch, and most of what you're going to see is negativity about what they don't agree with. I've tested this out, and I've posted positive. If you're on my social media feed, you're on my Facebook, you know that it's mostly wisdom, sunshine, and rainbows, right? But man, if I post something controversial, something negative, invariably, those things always, always, always get the most interaction. They always get the most comments, not just the likes, the comments filled with emotion, and then people arguing with each other. So we know that that's the reality of what is being delivered to us. But that doesn't mean that we have to pick it up. It doesn't mean that we have to carry it. It doesn't mean that it's what we have to choose to accept in our lives. So pay attention in this life, in this world that we live in, and in this time. Pay attention to the fact that so many great things are going on around us. So many wonderful things are happening in our lives, in our world, and in our communities. And I'm not saying we got to be blind to the realities of things that are going on. Again, I'm not ignoring, the things that might be happening that I need to pay attention to that we just talked about. But don't forget to allow yourself to focus on and appreciate and think about and let your mind, let your heart marinate in the good things that are going on, in the wonderful things, in the blessings, in the people that you have in your life that make your life better. Savor those moments and enjoy all the things that are around us that absolutely not only make life worth living, but it enhances every moment. If we'll do that, if we'll pay attention to the fact that beautiful things are happening. We live here in Texas, and it's getting close to that time. Blue bonnets are going to start, sprouting up everywhere. And, people will be out there taking pictures with their kids. And, as spring comes along, and those are little things and little moments. And I can tell you, I've been guilty of not taking the time to really pay attention to those little moments and appreciating those things and giving time and attention to the things that absolutely bring joy in our life. And so that's something I want to encourage you to do. And then the third thing and the final thing that I want to tell you that you really should pay attention to, and those are the things that you want. Now, how do you do that? How do you pay attention to what you want, what you don't have, or the realities that you want? There's this thing, and I won't try to get too technical here because I'll show you how much I don't know. But, we kind of have in our brain, the reticular activating system, and if I say the word butterflies, right? And I talk about butterflies, and when was the last time you saw a butterfly? That will activate something in your brain, and you may open up a magazine, you may walk outside, and all of a sudden you see butterflies. You may see 3 or 4 butterflies. You may see a bumper sticker with butterflies today because I'm talking about butterflies, and I just put that in your brain. Now, if you don't continue to think about it, or it doesn't create emotion, or it's not relevant to you, after a while, that won't be there. And again, butterflies might go past you. Bumper stickers might go past you with butterflies. Billboards might have butterflies on them and you won't notice. But because I'm saying it, now you might. You buy a car, a certain type of car that you never had before, and then you see that same car, that type of car all the time, and you never really noticed seeing them before. That's because of the reticular activating system. Well, here's what I want to encourage you to do. This is what one of the things that I choose to do is to pay attention to what I want, to what I want to see, to what I want to realize in my life. Because the minute that I do that, the minute I start paying attention to the successes, the accomplishments, the things that I want in my life, the minute that I start paying my mind, focusing my mind on the things the realities that I want in my life, then I start seeing those opportunities. I start connecting with those people. And those are the things that we really want as we move forward in life, is not just to take life as it comes, or just to allow things to happen to us however they happen, and walk around singing Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. I've never accepted that. Doris Day did a great job singing the song, but I absolutely don't accept that as a way to live life, to say whatever will be, will be. We have a creative power in our brain, and in our words, to be able to create the life that we want. But it comes by paying attention to our hopes, our dreams, focusing on our goals, focusing on our vision, and thinking about those things, starting our day out, thinking about the realities that we want for each day, visualizing the successes, the wins, the relationships, all the things that we want to be amazing, awesome, and phenomenal in our lives, and doing that and getting that wheel turning inside of our head, thinking about seeing these opportunities. And when we do, when we pay attention to what we want our life to be, when we pay attention to what our goals are, and we keep that in our mind, and we keep it in the forefront of our mind, when we pay attention to the realities of the outcomes that we want in our life, and when we're thinking about that and not just hoping, but actually putting effort into thinking about it. Thinking is actually work. To purposely think and focus on specific things, to zero in, to lock in, and not be distracted by every shiny object and everything that pops up on my watch, or on my phone, or on the internet, or anything else, to actually take the time to have sustained focus and pay attention to the outcomes and the realities that I want in my life. When I'm able to do that, when you're able to do that, we'll see those things more quickly, more often, and we will fulfill them faster and better than we ever have in our life, because that's where our focus is. We're thinking about them so that we see them and they become the reality. Things that we would have ignored, things that we wouldn't have paid attention to previously, things that might have just gone past us without really, grabbing our attention, because we're thinking about them, because we've set that as a focus, because we're rehearsing the outcomes that we want in our mind, they become part of our current reality and things that happen. So what I want you to do today is think about the things that we need to pay attention to, things that change, things that are good, and things that we want. My name is Ureshel. This is Ureshel Speaks. I told you it was going to be a short one, but you still need to go to YouTube, like and share, and you go have a great day. I got to go get some work done. We'll see you soon.